Well guys, it's here, another metal detector from Minelab, and I'm really excited to share it with you today. The Minelab X-Terra Elite is here. It offers multi-IQ technology, is waterproof up to 5 meters or 16 feet, and of course offers multiple detection modes, all wrapped up in a robust design. And the X-Terra Elite Expedition Pack comes with an additional coil as well as wireless headphones. My goal with this video is to introduce you to the machine, unbox it with you, and of course show you some demonstrations, along with sharing the price point for the X-Terra Elite and the X-Terra Elite Expedition Pack. So let's go back in time a bit and get this out of the box together. Alright guys, here it is, the X-Terra Elite. I am so excited to be unboxing this with you today, and of course we're going to be going over some features as well. But let's get it out of the box, first things first, and check it out. Oh, and while I have you here, if you would like to pause the screen just for the sake of reading the box, go ahead and do that now. Okay, and we'll take a look at the other side here. Again, just for the purposes of letting you pause the video if you would like to read the box. All right, and without wasting any more time here, let's crack her open. Here we go. All right, check that out. So right off the bat, I can't ignore the control box. I was going to pick up the headphones, but no, we need to look at this control box because this is a color we have not seen in the Minelab line in recent years. I believe this is the same color of the old Safari models, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, I'll put a correction on the screen. And I gotta be honest, when I heard that this was going to be like a gray beige color, it didn't enthrall me. I mean, not that the color of a metal detector matters at all when it comes to finding treasure in the ground, but you know, I like this. It's a classy type of like tan, khaki sort of. I actually like it more than I thought I would. And what's interesting here, I'm noticing it looks like Minelab has put some protective covering not just on the screen to pack it, but also on the entire control box, which is kind of a nice touch. I don't recall them doing that in recent years, but then again, when I did my Equinox 900 unboxing, I was in quite a rush to get that video out, so I don't know if that had the protective covering on it or not, but it's a nice touch. And while we're on the control box, this is the same type of housing that you're going to see with the Equinox 700 and 900 models, as well as, of course, the X-Terra Pro. It's got a rubberized grip here, and this little lip is to keep your hand from choking up on the grip so that it's a lot more comfortable when you're out in the field. I have noticed this improvement greatly with the Equinox 900 that I have, as well as the Manticore. The grip is a little bit different on the Manticore, but this is almost exactly, if not exactly, what is on, again, the 700, 900, and X-Terra Pro. So very robust feel to it. I like it a lot right out of the box. And yeah, all right, let's take off this protective plastic right here. There we go. All right. Very good. So it's got kind of like a matte finish to it, again, like the 700 and 900 do. And it has very firm buttons. Really have to mean it when you want to click something. So again, it just kind of adds to the more premium feel of it, the robust design, and I like that a lot. So next, we're just going to get some trash out of the way first and foremost. I guess I'll throw it in my pocket. I don't know where else to put it. And what else do we have here? We've got the Getting Started guide here. This is going to come in the box with every metal detector you buy from Minelab. Of course, it's going to be machine specific. Why wouldn't it be? So we've got the X-Terra Elite here. If you'd like to pause the screen, go right ahead. And of course, your assembly instructions are inside, as well as the basic functions of the detector. This is actually a nice, really heavy-duty paper. I believe it might actually be waterproof. I haven't tried that, but it could be. So something to just keep in your pocket when you're out detecting with this for at least the first few times, just so it's a quick, easy reference to refer back to when you need it. Apart from that, we've got basically just security info, compliance stuff, I'm sure, and our wireless headphones. Now, I do want to mention something here. This is the Expedition Pack. The Expedition Pack comes with these ML85 wireless headphones, which you can also pair with your Equinox 700 and 900 and your Manticore if you chose to do that. It's that same type of proprietary connection that we've seen Minelab putting out with the new machines as of late. But I digress. This is something that's only going to come in the Expedition pack, as well as a V8 coil. It's a Vanquish coil. You guys are probably familiar with those, so I suspect that's hiding with the 12-inch coil right under this cardboard. So again, the Elite is just the detector. It does not come with wireless headphones or an additional coil. It just comes with a 12-inch coil that's on the machine. But if you opt for the Expedition pack, then you will have the wireless headphones included as well as an additional coil. So, okay, we're going to set this aside. Set this aside. And we're just going to go down the line here. I want to remove the cardboard so we can get to our arm cuff. Let me actually move that out of the way a bit. Okay, so here's our arm cuff. We can wiggle it on out of there. All right, come on. That would be helpful. Oh, the charging cable is in here too. So there you go. It's going to be that same magnetic charge that we are used to with, again, the newer Minelab models that have come out in the last 5 or 6 years. For the rechargeable detectors, you're going to have this magnetic connector again. So put that aside as well. Just continuing on, let's kind of tease out this cardboard here. All right, there we go. So here is our arm cuff. It's going to be flexible plastic like what we've seen with the newer Equinox models in particular, and I'm sure the X-Terra Pro. Okay, so that is going to be far less apt to breaking than a brittle, tough plastic. So that's nice. We've got, of course, the usual Velcro grip right there. Very standard. Some people leave it on, some people take it off. I always leave it on. So, all right, there's that. And I've got a quick peek at the coils underneath here. Let's unbox those. Just have to tease them out of here a bit. Okay. So here we have got our V12. This is our 12-inch coil for the X-Terra Elite. Okay, very good. I think that's going to be a nice coil. I actually don't own a Vanquish or an X-Terra Pro, so get this out of the way here. So I'm curious to try this coil. It looks like it would be very suitable for a lot of the hunting that I do, and just an all-around good stock coil, I would imagine. Let's just get this out of the way. I hope you can see everything on the table. If you can't, naturally I'm going to be doing some demonstrations with the machine, so you will see plenty of it in this video. And now we got to get our V8 out of here. I suppose I should have brought an X-Acto knife out here, but I'm afraid of cutting things like cable wires, so let's not do that. All right, so this is your V8 coil. Nice little sniper right there. This will be good for very trashy areas like parks, yards, cellar holes if you live in New England like I do. This is going to be your jam. Now let's see what's left in the box. That's the bulk of it. Okay. All right. So we have an Allen wrench here for assembly and a little screw. I'm just assuming that's going to have something to do with getting the arm cuff on, or rather, yeah, it's for the arm cuff. I believe so. I'll confirm that in a minute. Okay, and then an Allen wrench to work that out. So, very good. Okay, and last but not least, we've got the shaft here. Take a look at these cam locks. This is what you see on the X-Terra Pro. All right. And this collapses down to 25 inches, I do believe, which is great because if you have a hiking backpack or something, you could actually throw this in there, which would be extremely helpful in saving space on your detecting adventure, especially if you're like me and you like hiking several miles into the woods. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to throw the detector in the backpack versus carry it around the entire hike in. So I think that does it for what's in the box right now. I'm going to go ahead and assemble this. I might kind of fast forward through it. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. But yeah, let's get rolling with this. I'm just going to equip this with the stock coil for right now. Okay, let's get that arm cuff on first, right? Okay. Do we want to get the arm cuff on or do we want to get this on? You know what? Here's what we really want to do. We want to open that getting started guide so that we know exactly what we're doing with assembling this. First and foremost with assembly, we want to put on our rubber washers. They are currently housed in the coil here. Okay, this is that same design we've been seeing on newer models of Minelab detectors where the nut is just integrated into the coil ear, which is pretty nice. It's just one less thing that you're apt to lose. So that's a win for me. So we're just going to very simply unscrew this so that we can get to our washers, okay? So I'm going to put that coil aside for now, and I'm going to put these in the bottom of the shaft here, okay? And they pop in pretty easily. You do want to see, just to make sure that they are lined up right, it'll come about 1 millimeter outside of the bottom of the shaft. So it's not going to be completely flush with this plastic. It should come out just a touch. Okay, so we're going to turn this around here, and I'm going to install the control box. So we're going to make sure that's not locked up or anything. I don't think you even can lock this. No, you can't lock it until it's on the shaft. Makes sense. We're just going to slide that right on. And this is also how you're going to adjust the way that this sits on your arm. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. For now, I'm just going to kind of put it anywhere, snap it into place. Next, you're going to extend the shaft out a little bit here. I'm just going to shorten this because we're doing this inside and I want to make sure I'm staying in the frame, frankly. The reason I'm not doing the unboxing outside is it's May right now, and in New England, the little black flies and gnats are just atrocious, so I'm trying to get away with filming the unboxing inside for that reason. We're actually going to jump back here real quick. I'm going to do the arm cuff. All right, very simple to tell which way it goes on because, clue, there's only a hole in one side. So this is how you do it. And it's going to stop right there. To keep this in place, that is where our Allen wrench and the little screw come in handy. So let me just get these out of the bag here. All right. Okay, so again, just inserting this screw. It's a little guy, kind of tough to feel it, but that's okay. Probably won't need this until the very end. But let's get that on there. Okay, nice and snug. We don't want to strip the screw. That's not fun for anybody. Okay, and like I said, this is where it's going to come into play of adjusting your arm cuff. Your arm cuff is always going to be at the top of the detector with this model. So what you want to do is you want to position the control box in such a way that it's far enough down where the arm cuff is coming up directly underneath your elbow. So let's go ahead and adjust that for me. All right. And I'd say right about there is going to be comfortable for me. So I'm just going to lock that into place. And there we go. Okay. So now it's time to install the coil. For the purposes of the video, I'm going to install the stock coil as that does come with both the X-Terra Elite and the X-Terra Elite Expedition Pack. So let's get that on. We're just going to make sure that we're lined up here. Okay. Kind of have to tease that shaft into the coil. And then you just kind of want to look to the side of the coil here and make sure the holes are round and not kind of crescent moon-shaped, otherwise you're not lined up properly. Okay, that looks to be lined up pretty good. So we're going to insert the bolt now. It's going to go in and it'll start to catch in a moment when it gets really all the way through the coil and starts attaching to the nuts on this side. Whoops. Robust design, guys, it's fine. Yep, it's starting to catch there. And I can just see it coming through on the other side. And just when it gets snug, that's when you want to stop. You do not want to over-tighten this, guys. I cannot stress that enough. It puts stress on the bolt, and there's a good chance you could snap it if you over-tighten it. So you don't want to do that. Now what we're going to do, very simply, we're just going to wrap the coil other way. Now, it doesn't actually really matter. As long as you don't have a lot of movement down here, it doesn't matter if you wrap the coil under or over, despite what everybody on the internet wants to tell you. It doesn't really matter as long as you've got some slack. Okay, you don't want to put stress on the coil. You want this to be loose enough where if you were to bend this forward in error, like you fell over or something, you don't want to put any pressure on this part of the coil, okay? Let's just wrap this up a few times. All right, I'll adjust this a little bit better before I go outside and show you some functions of the machine. We're going to go through the menu. We're going to go through some of the tones. I'll run over some targets and that stuff. But really, I mean, the purpose of this video is going to be just a simple rundown so that you can understand where this falls in the Minelab line of products and decide if it's a machine that you want to consider. I'm just presenting you with the facts and, of course, this unboxing here right now. I've got that wrapped around a few times. This shaft is going to be quite a bit longer than this. Again, we're limited on space here. I'm going to get the coil into the control box here. There's an arrow right here on the top of the coil to indicate what should be out in front. So that should be helpful when in doubt. So I'm going to start screwing this in. And shortly after I start, I should be able to just give it a bit of a push in more, okay? You don't want to force it, but you will feel that there's the ability to push it in another couple of millimeters or so. Again, we want to make it nice and tight, but you don't want to go insane because you want to be able to, if you need to, swap coils out in the field, especially considering that the Expedition comes with an 8-inch coil. This is an easy thing to throw in your backpack, so you don't want to have to use a tool to get this off. That's the goal. You should be using your hands only when assembling the detector, except with, of course, that little Allen wrench that was provided. Okay, so we are completely ready to go. There's one thing I did not mention. The coil here on Minelab, whenever you install a coil, you want to make sure the Minelab logo is at the front of the coil. Otherwise, you've got it on backwards, and that's just no good. So make sure you've got it on correctly, which we do. Yay! Okay, let's get this outside.
All right, so here it is outside, all ready to go. I just wanted to mention one thing really quick. When we went through the unboxing, I mentioned obviously that there was packaging on the control box face and also on the screen, and I expected there to be perhaps some spare screen protectors in there, and that maybe the one on here was just for packing purposes, but that is in fact a screen protector, because unless I missed something, I did not see any other screen protectors in the box. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that, so when you go ahead and unbox it, you do not remove this screen protector here. Okay, now one last thing I want to mention before we get started, because I kept mentioning that the X-Terra Elite as the standalone, not the Expedition package, just the standalone, does not come with the wireless headphones. But the X-Terra Elite is equipped with the ability to plug in your own. If it's an 1/8-inch jack, you can plug in your earbuds, headphones, whatever you like, and that'll work just fine. Okay, so now that we have the detector outside, let's go ahead and turn it on. Right there, quick tap. All right, and that's what we're greeted with right here. Our target ID scale is up here. As you can see, it's empty right here because we have our iron audio off, so all metal is off right now. I just want to show you the factory presets and how it comes to you. So let's go ahead through our detection modes right here. We've got Park 1 and Park 2. Field 1 and Field 2, and Beach 1 and Beach 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the cog wheel and run through some of the menu. All right, we've got our noise cancel. If you don't already know how to do that, when you're in that setting, you want to lift the machine above the ground, away from any metal, and hit this button right here. And what it's done is it has selected what it believes is the quietest channel for me to operate in right now. So let's set them back up here, okay? And let's keep going down the menu. All right, our ground balance. Now, if we're in ground balance, okay, we can adjust that very simply, but I want to show you that we can put the tracking ground balance on, and that's indicated by that icon right there. So basically, this is going to ground balance itself. And you really shouldn't have a need to have that on too often. Maybe at the beach, I don't know, but I very rarely use it. That is if you're going to be in varied conditions in a very short period of time. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Oh, that button. Volume, let's turn that up a bit. Okay, we have that at maximum volume. And now I'm going to go into an advanced setting right here. If we hold down the cog wheel for a few seconds, you'll see a line underneath the setting, which indicates that you're in an advanced setting. And this is your iron volume. Now, 12 is fairly loud, and at least for me, it can be a little bit distracting. So I like to turn that down a little bit. So now let's go ahead and I'll put that on 4. That's fine. And to get out of the advanced setting, we're going to long press the cog wheel. And there we go. All right, we have our threshold. Turn that up so you can take a listen. Okay, so if you don't know what threshold is already, this is so that if you have this light hum in the background, what it will do for you is it's going to let you know if you hear a hiccup, meaning a break in the hum, that you either have something very, very small or very, very deep. It will not let you know if it's ferrous or non-ferrous, but this is a great tool. However, for the purposes of this video, obviously that's a little bit annoying to listen to, so we're going to turn that all the way down again. Okay. And we've got different tone options here. It comes preset in 5 for at least Park 1. We can go down to 2 tones, a single tone, or we can go up to all tones and then depth as well. So that should be pretty cool to check out and swing it over some coins and kind of show you the idea. All right, I'm going to leave it at all tones. That's how I run all of my detectors. So that's what we're going to leave it in. All right. And then this is your accept reject. I'm not going to go into that in this video. Okay. Okay, so this is your recovery speed. You've got options of 1, 2, or 3. Okay. And if we long press that, here's our iron bias. So we can have it on 0, 1, or 2, it sounds like. So I believe that was on 1. So again, we're going to long press the cogwheel and get back into our recovery speed. And I'm going to bring that down a touch because I want to get a bit more depth. The higher your recovery speed, the better your target separation. The lower your recovery speed, your target separation won't be as good, but your depth is going to be greater. So it's kind of a balancing act between that and the iron bias. But that's the very basic function of this detector. There also is a vibration mode. We may or may not go into that, but I just wanted to show you the menu so that you become familiar with it. It's very, very similar to an Equinox and of course an X-Terra Pro. Okay, a few last things I wanted to show you before we get out and swing over some targets. I'm going to turn all metal off for right now just so we don't get too much chatter. I wanted to show you how we can switch frequencies because of course this has multi-IQ, so I just want to show you how to go ahead and do that. So in the park and field modes, you will be able to toggle between multi and 15 kilohertz. Okay, that's all it's going to let you do. It's not as versatile as an Equinox, but that does give you a good option. 15 is a really nice all-around operating frequency, so I can see why they did that. All right, and let's just run over to beach mode because I just want to let you know you cannot switch out of multi in beach mode. Okay, now let's go back to park really quick. Now, here's your pinpoint button. It's picking up something, probably my tripod. But we'll show you that more when we go over some targets, okay? And then lastly, this is your, well, not lastly, this is your button to connect the headphones. We may or may not go over that in this video, but this is your backlight and your flashlight, okay? Now, you're not going to see it very well, so I'll probably pop in some footage right about now to show you what this looks like all illuminated when it's nice and dark. But you just hit that button there. Okay, and you can kind of see the red coming through again. I'll put in some footage so you can really see it glow. And then if we hit it again, okay, this is actually just a dimmer red, but you're not going to be able to see it. So hopefully there's some footage overlaid right now. And you can also tell it's on if you're confused during the day and your battery is depleting, you're not sure why. Take a look up here. That means your backlight is on, but obviously even right now in low lighting at dusk, you still can't really see that. So want to make sure that's off to optimize your battery life, okay, when you're swinging during the day. And if you want the flashlight on, what you do is you long press this. Okay, there's the icon. Sorry for all the beeping. And just to show you, there it is. Okay, once again, I will have some footage probably overlaid on this so that you can just take a look at that. And of course, to turn the flashlight off, long press. And there you go. Now we're ready to rock. Okay, so now it is time to test some targets here. You can see what I've got. I got a seated half, a Morgan dollar. I've got some lower conductors like that hammered coin on the tip of my finger over here, a little cuff link. So just to get a variety and kind of just listen to the tones and check out the recovery speed and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm going to put this down now. I do have some nails as well, of course, and we'll get rolling with this. Okay, so now that I have the machine turned on here, I just want to note I'm not going to put it on all metal right now. There is a ton of iron in my yard, so it's going to be really distracting, and I just want to hear the coins and other targets for right now. Okay, and let's see what settings we've got here. Obviously, we're going to perform a noise cancel, as always. Great, okay, moving on along. We're not going to ground balance, no need to out here. Set my volume on 24. I thought it was a little bit jarring at 25. All right, and threshold, we're going to keep that off. I'm in all tones right now. And recovery 3 because I just put the targets on the surface of the ground. And I want to tell you why. A lot of people like to do air tests on YouTube, but I just find that it's really pointless because if you just are swinging something across a coil, it's going to sound very different than it does in the ground, because the ground conditions with the mineral contamination, along with iron, of course, in the ground, that's going to throw off your signals a lot. So it's really not a good indicator of how deep a machine will actually get. And therefore, I will not put that type of stuff in my videos. I just kind of want to show you the tones and functionality of the machine. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm sure there will be plenty of people waving coins across the coil and showing you how far away that it is. But for me, just personally, I don't find much use for that. So that's why I don't put them in my videos. Okay. And let's see. Iron bias. It's just on 1. It's the factory default for this. So, okay. I can hit the pinpoint button to get out of it. I'll show you how to use that button as well. I know we didn't go over that too much, just going through the menu navigation. All right, so let's walk over to some of these targets here. I've got a musket ball right there at the tip of my coil. For right now, I am in all tones once again, and we'll explore the different types of tones you can use on this detector as we go over more targets, but we're just going to start with all tones. Nice sweet sound there. Next in line here, we have a hammered coin. It's actually ringing up quite a bit higher than I would have expected. And I must say, I don't have too many hammered coins in my collection. So that's what I've got to work with. Coming over here, I frankly can't even remember what I put down there. What have we got? Oh, I see him. This is like mudlarking right now. King George. Could not remember what I put there because I couldn't see him. He blends in. He's greenish brown, so. There you go. And this I can see that's the seated half dollar, my Morgan dollar. I could listen to that all day, but maybe not you guys. Although I hope you could, or you probably shouldn't be metal detecting, right? Then we got our Morgan dollar. High 90s reading as expected. We have a seated Liberty quarter right here. And I recall this ringing up kind of like a silver dime in the field. A little bit higher than that. Silver dime on this is about 84, 85. Okay. And then I have a couple of low conductors over here. This piece right here that almost looks blue in this lighting, that's actually a tomback button. 18th century Coke button. Now, I know not everybody digs those tones, but in New England, you better believe I'm digging those tones. Okay? And lastly, there's no way you're even going to see it. There's a tiny little cuff link right there. And this is a great segue into the target ID scale here. It's -19 for your iron, -19 to 0, and then 1 to 99 for your non-ferrous targets. So, just like with the new machines in general, we've got that nice wide target ID range to give us a better indication of what's underneath the coil. All right, so now that we've had a chance to run over some targets really quick, how about we go through those different audio modes, okay? So we're going to pick on the seated half here. Again, that's in all tones, although there's not much variance. That's a very, very stable target ID range. And by the way, for my sensitivity, I don't think I mentioned, I just have the stock 20. That's how it comes preset. All right, so let me go over to these different audio profiles here and we'll explore them a bit. Okay, so as I said, I'm in all tones. Let's go all the way down to 1. Now, I highly doubt with this machine that you would be able to adjust the pitch. If I find that I'm incorrect, I will certainly do a subsequent video on this. But for the purposes of this video, just kind of showing you. Obviously, that's to be expected. One tone is, well, one tone. Okay, so now we're going to go up to 2. That's not really going to show you a whole lot here, I don't think. No, not exactly. What I really wanted to get to was depth, to be honest with you. So we've already done, oops, sorry. Stand by. Okay. So actually we didn't do 5 tones. We'll run over it and that. It's not going to show you much, but just a pretty high tone. Okay, now let's get to depth because I do want to show you how that works. All right. Okay, so this is depth mode. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a modulated type of tone, telling you how deep something is, okay? So we'll start shallow, high pitch, and as we raise the coil off the ground, it gets lower. Okay? Now, I never use that mode, but some people do, and I just wanted to show it to you and let you know that it is available on this machine. Okay, so I've put all of the other targets away except for the 4 silver coins I have out, which are the Morgan dollar to the right, a seated half dollar just to its left, seated quarter, and that hammered coin, okay? So now we're going to talk about recovery speed a little bit here. Let's go into that setting. Again, I still am not in all metal for this. Okay, so my recovery is at the highest speed right now, which is 3. Let's listen to it that way, and then we'll back it down a bit, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so we're just going to run over these coins. It's going to be a beautiful sound, I'm sure. To get a little messy when you swing that fast, but if you're swinging that fast, you probably shouldn't be metal detecting. So in any case, you can see that there are 4 distinct tones pretty clearly, even swinging at a pretty high clip. I consider this a pretty fast swing, and I think most people would agree. Now let's see what happens when we lower that recovery speed. So as I mentioned before when we were going through the menu, the lower your recovery speed, the more depth you'll get, but your target separation will start to slip a little bit. So turn that down. We'll see how this does, just for ha-has, right? See, it gets muddier a little bit quicker here, but negligible, to be honest with you. Sounds more like 3 tones, whereas when we were on the highest, so it actually is quite a difference if you toggle back and forth like that. So we'll actually do that again. While I'm swinging. So you can definitely hear a difference there. Now, because, generally speaking, you want to be swinging slow, I usually like just kind of a middle of the road recovery speed, but it really depends on your conditions and where you are, of course, as with anything. We'll turn that down even more, and I think that will be even more of kind of a muddy signal. We might just hear 2 tones, we might hear 3, who knows? Let's try it out. Yeah. So you can see the advantage of having it on 3. But that's only going to be if you're not looking for anything truly deep, you know what I mean? That's going to be really good for maybe parks and yards, anything that's really trashy. You want to make sure that you can get in between the iron to pick out your non-ferrous targets. So speaking of iron, I think it's a really good time and a great segue into putting down some nails and seeing exactly how well this picks through iron. Okay, so for our nail test here, I have just selected 1 coin, and that's going to be the seated quarter. You can see the nail right to the left of it there. We're going to take a listen, all right? I have turned my iron back on, and it's at volume 12, machine volume 24. Okay, let's take a listen. So it has no problem hearing it, and you hear a bit of a grunt in there. I do like 45 degrees on it. A bit muddier, but you would definitely investigate that target. Let's go ahead and turn on it a little bit more over here. Sounds a little messy, but again, you're certainly going to investigate that. So no problem there, but how about we go ahead and add a couple of nails? All right, so as you'll notice, that quarter is now between 2 nails. That's going to be a tough test, I would imagine. Let's take a peek, see how it does. Surprisingly well. Now, I suspect if I turn 90 degrees, we're probably going to lose it. I'm not going to be unrealistic here. Okay, this is a beginner to intermediate machine. Let's take a look. Struggles, but that hiccup is something that I would investigate. I don't know about you guys, but if I hear just the slightest chirp, I am going to go around it, probably 360 degrees to be honest with you, with some of the sites that I hunt. So again, we'll take a listen this way. It's still a tough test. All right, take a look again over here. To be fair, that would not make me stop. Okay. Well, you can kind of hear it, but you can't see it. So that's why it's important, guys. Remember to listen to what the machine's telling you, because I did hear a little bit of a squeak in there, and I probably would have investigated it if I continued swinging over it. If I just did that, I'm sure that I wouldn't have heard it, but again, you wouldn't be swinging that fast. At least I hope not. All right, now obviously we simply cannot do an iron test without using the small coil. I mean, that's just not even fair. So I'm gonna just show you that, again, settings are all the same. I already noise canceled when I swapped the coils out. Okay. I'm on all tones and recovery of 3. All right, so I did go ahead really quick and I removed one of the nails that was there. So there's just that one to the left of the seated quarter. We'll take a listen. Not a single problem hearing that. That's exactly what this coil is designed for. Trashy and full of iron. You want a small coil for that, always. And that's definitely squeaking better than it was with the other coil. And that's to be expected. That's just detection technology for you. A smaller coil is going to be able to get in between the iron a lot better than a larger coil, okay? And of course, I was swinging pretty aggressively with the V12 just to show you how fast kind of you can go until you lose it, just for the sake of doing it. No problem hearing that. Turn 45 degrees. Or no, we're at 90 now. See, the numbers are all mixed up, but you very clearly see a negative number, and then you see a high conductor thrown in there. That's definitely telling you to dig it. So again, that is the benefit of the small coil for sure. And that's why I typically do pack one in my backpack with me when I swing the Manticore or any other machine that I have in my arsenal. I've always got a small coil with me because you never know when you're going to come up on an old home site in the middle of the woods. You certainly want to be prepared for it. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'll turn 45 degrees this way. Why not? This is going to be much tougher because the nail is closer to me. Whoa, not as tough as I thought. So it's kind of thrown, so you can see what it's done is it's throwing down your target ID of the seated quarter, and that's due to the iron. So we're getting a completely different number, but it's still a digger. And that's what we couldn't exactly get with the 12-inch coil. Again, though, I can't stress that enough. That's to be expected, guys. A small coil is always going to perform better in iron. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab another nail. We'll put that down, and then we'll test that out again. All right, so here's our coin between 2 nails. And we'll see if this slaps it or not. I'm sure it will. No problem. That's actually really impressive. I'm swinging it like a complete doofus right now. I'm pretty sure I can't even swing any faster than that, and it's hitting it no problem. This is going to be tougher for sure. We'll do 45 degrees. No, that's actually quite surprising. So see how it's just thrown it down to a 50s type of signal? And I will say, whenever I'm hunting cellar holes, guys, a lot of the coins will come up much lower because you're dealing with an iron bed of nails, just like this, except it's all over the place. Okay, so I think I'm going to make this the last nail test here. And at the risk of scratching my one and only seated quarter, I put a nail directly on top of it. I'm not going to be unrealistic. I do not know how the V12 is going to perform, but this has a shot at hearing it, so I figured, why not? Let's give it a try. Ooh. Color me impressed. Color me impressed. Seriously, nail right on top of the coin. Wow. I really am impressed. Wasn't sure how that was going to hit it. Doesn't sound great, but you're not going to skip that. You can hear that grunt, grunt, grunt kind of mixed in. You can't see it on the screen, but you can hear it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Frankly, I almost forgot to do this. We still need to go over pinpoint mode. And I forgot to do it because usually I just use the wiggle method, which is as shown here. Pretend you can't see the target and it's in the ground. What you're going to do, wiggle over it. As you pull back, as the signal disappears, right when you lose it, it's directly in front of your coil, as shown. Okay, but we're going to use the pinpoint button here because that might be helpful for beginners or people who just prefer to use that method instead. So we're going to swing over it, again, pretend you can't see it. And we're just going to tap the pinpoint button. And when it comes together the closest, you know you're directly over your target. Okay? So you're kind of off over here, it's showing you that. As we get closer, there you go. All right, cool. Just had to show you that, and we'll move on. Okay guys, well I hope you have enjoyed this introduction to the X-Terra Elite, and I think I know the last question on your mind, or questions I should say. What type of metal detectorist is this for, and what is the price of the X-Terra Elite and the X-Terra Elite Expedition Pack? So let's just get to the price because I know you guys are anxious about that. For the X-Terra Elite, which is just the metal detector and charging cable for the detector, that's $479 USD. While the X-Terra Elite Expedition Pack is priced at $599 USD. Now at those price points, I would call this anywhere from a beginner machine because the operation is very simple, up to a strong intermediate. So as for where this falls in the lineup, I think we've got that answer now with the price point and of course going over those key features that we went throughout this video. Now, the other type of detectorist that I could see purchasing this machine would be somebody who owns an Equinox, a Manticore, something that's closer to the top of the line with Minelab when they need a backup. I think they would do just fine purchasing the X-Terra Elite, so just the detector, and then pairing their ML85 headphones for their Equinox or ML105s with their Manticore to this machine. But if this is going to be your daily use detector, I would certainly recommend that you opt for the X-Terra Elite Expedition Pack, as that is a fully loaded detector, including the wireless headphones and of course, that small coil. The bottom line takeaway here though is that Minelab is offering us a lot of options to choose from for our specific needs. So in closing everyone, I really hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it's given you a fair introduction to the Minelab X-Terra Elite and Elite Expedition Pack. I think this is going to be an awesome backup detector for experienced users and a really good first machine for beginners or perhaps even an upgrade into the intermediate realm. So that's going to wrap it up for this introduction video to the Minelab X-Terra Elite. Again, I hope you've enjoyed it and I do expect to be putting up some subsequent content of hunts with this machine, so keep your eyes peeled for more videos on this detector. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching everybody and happy hunting.